Do you talk to your husband and you email him and you text him, but you still feel like you don't connect? Today, we are connecting authentically, okay? It's going to be awesome. We're going to go through it. By the end of this show, you will know exactly how to have that deep connection with your husband and closeness that you've always wanted. Okay, we are back, and actually this is called Leah's Toolbox, right? So look what my staff got me. Isn't that the cutest thing ever? Like, I want to sleep with it, put it under my pillow. Toolbox. A pink toolbox, and look at this. Yeah. Can they see this? Is that the cutest thing? Like, we have to think of, like, this is hammer your husband, or don't hammer your husband, whatever. We're working at it. We're going to, but oh wait, I like the one you thought of this, like, don't measure your marriage against other people's marriage. I want to tell you a story. This is about authentic communication, authentic connection. So we called it Connecting Authentically. So there's a couple, Amy and Mark, and they have a business, and they're working out of their house or whatever. And actually, she didn't tell me if they were working out of it. Anyway, they're working. Let's say it's out of their house. So they're working out of their house, and she said their daily life is filled with tension and anxiety and whatever. You know, this typical work stuff. I mean, if you're working close with somebody, particularly somebody you feel like, if you're working with your boss and you feel like, oh, if I say something, I'm going to get in trouble, or they're not going to like me, or whatever, you might, be a little bit more polite. But if it's somebody who you're used to fighting with, or expressing your needs freely, when you're in a work situation, it's very challenging. So she said there's a lot of tension in their marriage, a lot of anxiety, a lot of bickering, a lot of arguing over stupid things. He likes to do things certain ways, she does certain ways. Once they tried to separate, and she would take that area, and that didn't work. So there's a lot. So she came to me. There's a lot of tension. She came to me saying she just wants to be close with him, but their communication is terrible. And she said they even got to the point where they said, let's go for therapy, right? Right? This is hi, you guys here? Hello. Yeah. Hello, we're here. Right? Yeah, let's go to therapy. So I thought that was great, fantastic. Mm-hmm. So they went to therapy, and she said it ended up being a referee session. They're paying the therapist X hundreds of dollars an hour for him to referee their fights, and it didn't get somewhere. So maybe they could have gotten a different therapist, or maybe who knows? It didn't work, and they'd given up. So I said to her, do you ever have DMCs with your husband? DMC?
Deep, meaningful conversations.
Thank you. Deep meaning of DMC. Mm-hmm. You gotta have teenagers.
It's the new age.
DMC.
Mom, let's have a DMC.
Deep, okay. Meaningful conversation. So she said, we try and we end up blaming each other for each other's stuff or whatever. She said, look, I was on this kick, and I read this book, and I was going to make this whole effort, and I went and I said, I'm going to let my husband win all the arguments.
She read the Marriage Secrets book.
She read Marriage Secrets.
I read the Marriage Secrets book.
Hold on. Every woman needs to read. But I don't tell people that they should drop everything and just, mavater everything. I mean, there's a lot of blessing that comes from it. But just giving in all the time. So I said, how did that work? And she said, I just built up resentment. I just got angrier and angrier. And I saw that without fighting for my points, it just was worse. What should they do? That's what she came to me. What should they do?
Stop working together.
So now there's a special kind of, if you have a situation where you're both working together or in close quarters doing intense stuff, you have to really set up a lot of ground rules. And this couple did not have ground rules. Like in the middle of the day, they could argue about which camp the kids should go through, as well as, should this client get this particular thing. So it was like there was no boundaries, it was all mixed, it was all on top of it. And they carried their work stuff into the home and the home into the work. Bad. There has to be very, very tight boundaries. And there's actually books on setting boundaries and goals and working under the same roof. I mean, you can find stuff. Google articles on how to do this successfully. Or you can just keep watching the show, and we'll give you all the tips you need. In terms of being able to communicate well and our whole thing is about closeness, getting close to your husband. And so what this couple, besides that they shouldn't work together, or at least have boundaries and clarity and logistic structure to make it work, the other things that we're going to go through today and describe exactly a bunch of stuff that they can do to make the communication better. So let's see. I wanted to start with, and we just covered this a little bit in another show about bad habits, that when you get into a rut and like he's always wrong or you're always wrong and you're always fighting over the same thing, bad habits, the good thing about them is take you by surprise. You already know what your challenge is and what the thing, and you can write down, okay, my bad habit is this, and his bad habit that he, I accuse him of stuff, and then he comes back defensively instead of saying, oh, you're right, I did that. So you can analyze habits, and that's very, very valuable, because once you understand it, is your number one way to get on the other side of it. It's a start. It sort of lays the groundwork for what's next. And for you to get over bad habits, there's all kinds of training you can do in talking to yourself and coming up with logistic solutions. But let's go right away to our sources. There's a source about that husbands and wives communicate and get close through talking and listening. And that's one of the sorely missed things we're going to see when we're looking at our action plan. We're going to see that we think that communication will take care of itself and that somehow we'll get through what we need to. It has to be carved into our life or it doesn't happen. Okay. There is a quote, and I couldn't find who wrote this, but I think it's so powerful, which is, we create our institutions, and then our institutions create us. So we have a certain idea, we want a school that looks like this, and we set it up, and we have teachers that are hands-on and less, what is that called? Student to ratio, what is it?
Student to teacher.
Yeah, student to teacher ratio. We want this thing, and we want people to be able to go at their own pace. Whatever it is you think of, you philosophize about it, and then you create a structure and logistics to fulfill that vision. And lo and behold, you've created an institution, and then your institution creates you, because those kids who come out now are part of your community, and they are, the institution is creating the kids. So in this situation with, was it Mark and Amy? I always forget the names, Mark and Amy. When Mark and Amy, they created a bad institution. Their institution is designed, with no boundaries and no good, accurate way to communicate all of their issues, and that's part of the problem. Okay, so let's take a look. There is a quote that when I was in Israel, and I spoke with Rebbetzin Kaladetsky, and I asked her, and I've used this quote very many times because it's very powerful, which is, I asked her, what if you had one thing to share with people, and this is Rev Chaim Kanievsky's daughter, if you had one thing to tell people about marriage, what would it be? And she said, I learned from my father in the name of the Chavetz Chaim that if you mavater, everything will work out. Mavater means to
give in.
No, to give in, to give in, to give in. And you may not see it exactly, you may not see it directly, but it's a guarantee from God himself. God will take care of you, like just mavater. So does that mean you're a doormat and you say, by the way, every doormat has a welcome sign on it, okay? So we don't want to be doormats, okay? So when you are mavater, giving in, doesn't mean that you do everything your husband's way and say, okay, and then things go bad, or he says, oh, we need to buy, 10,000 balloons and have them floating around. You're like, that's a big waste of money. It's not going to really impress the people. Let's say if you're a design company and you're designing a party or a host, whatever it is, 10,000, I don't know where I came up with 10,000 balloons, but you can pop the balloons. Okay. But if he comes up with this crazy idea, you don't just give in and say, oh, okay, yes, dear, okay. Husbands don't need yes, dear. Yes, dear, we are born an Ezer Kenegdo, a helpmate opposite him. So you need to give your opinion. Your opinion is vitally crucial, important. But it's how you give that opinion and how strong you are committed to making it your way versus his way. So if you're like, look, I'm just saying, 10,000 balloons, I think the strings are going to dangle in people's faces, whatever it is that your point is, that's a good point. And my bangs are driving me crazy today. I don't know. It's okay. Oh.
It's all like
my hair?
Inside, yeah.
Huh?
Good, okay, yeah.
Is that good?
Yeah,
okay.
good.
This is something you do
joke.
before the show.
Yes,
Thank you.
well,
Hello.
listen, we're women.
Okay, we're women. Okay, here we go. Oh, I can talk on the microphone. Hello. Anyway, okay, so fine. It actually matches the phones. We got all pink phones. Is that obnoxious? Anyway, okay, so the thing is that you have your opinion. You think the balloons is a really dumb idea. So instead of just saying, no, that's a really dumb idea, right? First of all, that's not very nice. Second of all, if you thought of the balloons and he said, no, that's a dumb idea, which he may do. So I shouldn't even go there, but I'm just saying you wouldn't feel good. So what is the way to tell him not to do the balloons? You would say something like, you think, take a minute, take a deep breath. That's going to be our first number one thing here. Take a deep breath and think about it and say, I hear that. It's a really cute idea. I have some other, maybe let's think of a dozen ideas and pick one. That's very way of saying, that's the same thing as, same result as saying, you idiot, why did you think of dumb idea? But it's more practical, more kind, and he has more chance of hearing it. So let's start it with number one. So I have the 5 secrets of connecting authentically. Okay, you guys ready? Yeah?
Yes,
okay, very good. Here we are. Ready? Okay, number 1 is to slow things down. Okay? Slow things down. So it's very, thank goodness, we're dramatic, we're full of life, we're passionate, right? So we just want to jump in. And usually when there's a conflict situation, jumping in is 99% of the time going to be the wrong thing to do. Coming down on our husband, getting harsh on him, finding, and by the way, if you guys have questions on what I'm saying, whatever, and your people who are listening, so it's really shocking how 2 minutes of waiting and inhaling or exhaling or whatever, and just waiting can diffuse a lot of the tension. So when Amy is in the thing and her husband says, "Oh, let we do this," or whatever, and instead of yelling at him and saying, "No, you need to call the client back now. Don't wait till after lunch. We'll lose the account," right? So instead of saying that, if she just breathes or whatever, many times he'll say, on second thought, maybe I should call him now. Avoided total conflict, avoided tearing apart, avoided the lack of closeness that comes with the harshness, just waiting. And if he doesn't come to that conclusion, a simple, saying, "No," right away wouldn't work. But if you, after 2 minutes, you said, "I don't know, I just have a gut feeling, maybe let's call him now. What do you think?" He'll be like, "Oh, okay." He can hear it. So it's not just that it's our husband can hear it better and can take our influence better. It's not that. It's also that we ourselves feel better about ourselves. We're not like off the handle. We don't end the day feeling like, "Ugh, I snapped at my husband so much today. What is with me?" And then you feel bad about yourself. It's like if you just slow down, slow the whole thing down. Our world is going, slow down. There's nothing that's stopping you from slowing down. Okay. Most things can wait. Okay. Oh, this is so crucial, is that it's not just so that Amy's husband, so Mark, could hear her better. She will actually speak better. So by taking that time and just slowing down, she herself is saying things that are make him much more closer. Okay, I'm going to wear these. Is that okay?
Yes. No.
She doesn't like my glasses. Okay, it's all right. Okay, hey.
No glare, no nothing.
Oh yeah. Oh, it worked. Because they closed that window.
Yes,
Yeah. See, we're good. Okay.
Keep on those glasses.
I can keep them on.
Now
I can read. Yay!
You actually look very scholarly.
Oh, scholarly.
Yes,
So
like
very. I
the
should just sit up
Yeah.
with a screwdriver.
With the screwdriver.
Now, I just have to find something the hammer though. Look how, but it's also it's cute, and you can't feel it, guys, but it's like weighted so lovely, like it's like this. See, you gotta try it.
It's weakly.
It's weakly. I don't know. It's just
It
weighted,
is. Oh
isn't
my
it?
God,
It's like
it doesn't
this.
have that, like-
Yeah, heavy, yucky. Okay, all right. So now.
Take your
Here's the other thing. Thank you. So slow things down. So here you also have to analyze yourself. Are you the kind of person who is quick to anger? Like, wait, we have to, we took the thing off here and put, okay, anyway, whatever. That said, Ladies TalkShow. I put it on the toolbox. We have to make another one of those. We're like, we don't have our act together. Right, we need one of those. So, are you the kind of person who's fighting and angry and whatever and quick to anger? Some people are, some people aren't. And if you are, rather than feeling bad about yourself, do something about it, And it doesn't mean, it means you were born quick to anger, right? So that's kind of like, that's an invitation for you to grow better on that. It doesn't mean that you're not going. It doesn't say one shouldn't feel angry. It says one shouldn't show anger, not feel anger. You can feel anger all you want. Good luck to you. Good luck to us. You know what I mean? We always feel anger. What are you showing? Are you blasting somebody? Are you chopping somebody's head off because you feel justified in doing it? And some people, thank goodness, look back and say, "Ooh, I shouldn't have snapped so hard." They can even say it while it's coming out of their mouth. As you get better and better, you're saying, "Well, what? You know what? Let's not talk about it right now," or whatever. You freeze yourself, stop yourself, bite your tongue, all of this. But you have to know yourself. So everybody who's listening, I want you, and everyone here, I want you to think about quickness to anger. And here's one, like you're very slow to anger, like, whatever, it's beshert, it's meant to be, it's fine. And a 10, 10 over here would be you're fast to snap and, oh my gosh, everything that happens, somebody, pulls out in front of you and you go ballistic, whatever. So no, are you a 10 or are you a 1? Or probably like most of us, you're a 3 or you're a 7 or you're a 6. Think of that number in your head right now. Where are you holding?
Well, can you have a different number when it comes to the world in general and people and then your husband? Because I'm like a 12 on the husband.
On the husband. Yeah.
That's it?
Well,
I love you, Rachel. You're so kind.
What'd you say?
Oh, she said that's it?
Only a 12?
No, but I feel like with your husband, I don't know.
So what they say, listen, every piece of, all the work that we do here is with your husband, with your relationship, in your relationship, in your significant relationship. So that's all the work we do because there is Rav Salanter gives, one of our sages, gives over a thing that midos don't split. So meaning if you're angry with your husband, you're going to be angry with a kid, you're going to be angry with the lady at the market, you're going to, character traits don't split. And he gave us that gift for us to understand. The beauty of that is that if you work on it somewhere, it'll affect everywhere. So we use our husband as sort of the rubric. What's that? A crucible. What's a good word?
A template?
A litmus test or a playground in which to, what did you call it? A template? Yeah, a template. Example.
A
Microcosm, thank you. A microcosm, very good.
I was going to say guinea pig.
I have
we use our husband as the guinea pig for anything that we are trying to work on.
But I have to put
Hi, honey.
if I'm going to say microcosm, I have to put this on.
Yes.
Our husband is our microcosm. Okay, guinea pig. Anyway, whatever. That's okay. So he's. Yeah. So I can say it. Yeah. No. Oh, why? That's a guinea pig. What?
No, because you sound very.
Yeah,
that's after word is a microcosm. So the thing is, so our husband is, let's call him spade, guinea pig. Guinea pig. So we test everything on him. We grow with him. We learn from him, and this is a gift God gave us to be able to do that. And then we're that with our kids. We're that with the lady at the supermarket, our mother-in-law. So character traits. Our whole purpose. Says that the Vilna Gaon said that our whole purpose in life, since the day we were born, is to improve our character traits. And God gave us our husbands, and our husbands were given us in order to be able to perfect ourselves in this world, to reach our shleimus, to reach our perfection and grow ourselves. So that's what we're working on. That's a pretty good charge, and we're having fun doing it. So, but the issue is that when you are working on this, you have to know, where are you in terms of you? We're just working on anger right now. Where are you? So everybody has you don't have to tell me. Don't worry.
Numbers fluctuate.
The number, okay, it could fluctuate. It could go up and down. Okay, so
depending on how you're feeling or if you're tired.
Yeah, tired. Very good. Yeah. So, but let's say it's not going to go from a 3 and now all of a sudden you're a 9. So just in your mind, if you are a 4 person, or let's say you started out as a 6 and you've been working so much on it, now you're down at a 3 or a 4. Good on you.
Yeah.
Standing O. We're going to take care of you. That's awesome. God's very happy with you. But let's say you're a 9. And your husband, and you realize you're always snapping. You're always one sentence away, especially when you're tired. You're one sentence away from him being, I was going to say in the doghouse, but the rabbi told me you can't put your husband in a doghouse. I said, no.
No, that's the term that the outside world uses.
But he didn't like that. He said,
you're one step away from hammering your husband.
Hammering. You're one step away from hammering it with a nice balance. Boom, boom, boom. Right? So you're always one little bit away from hammering your husband. If that's you need to do something about it. I get it. We all have our moments, and we've all done that, and we've all gone down that road. But if it's happening to you every day, and for sure Amy said it was happening all day long. She just, like it was just like he was a thorn in her side. If that's happening, you need to read anger books. You need to watch a lot of the shows below. Mm-hmm. Click above, below. I don't know.
Just click on our bio.
Yeah. Watch the archive. What's the bio?
our bio. We have on top of the Instagram and Facebook.
Oh, I see.
They
Okay, and then they can click on our website and look at all our shows. Okay, fine. Thank you. So anyways, watch the other shows. Get yourself so that you can work on it. So if you're a 9, you go to an 8. If you're an 8, you go to a 7. If you're a 3, you go to a 2. Work on this because this is going to make your husband connect. This is what we're talking about, connecting authentically. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Wait, don't want to forget this one. See, that's why I need my glasses because then I remember the important stuff. Okay, here's the thing. When we are working on a habit, it's really hard. It's hard to remember in the moment. Like afterwards, you can kick yourself, and that's already a madriga, that's a level. Like afterwards saying, I wished I had done that better, right? And this, what am I going to do about these bangs? Does anyone have a match? Oh, no.
Yeah, I could cut it.
I could cut it.
Oh my God, you have like a little clipper
I have a scissor.
Yeah, you have
it's a Twizzler. That's
no, but you have those little like clips. Well, you can make it work.
And see, look at this has Twizzers.
Yeah,
This is so I have to think of something really cute with this one, like to take care of your husband, and everything is delicate. Speak delicately.
There
you go.
Oh,
yeah,
like
see, and it
Be
looks like it's speaking.
Yeah.
Hello, how are you?
Oh, good.
Okay, so fine.
I like
Anyway,
that.
okay, that's good. Okay,
Oh, and it even has a closure.
Yeah,
Shut your mouth.
Yeah. She always
Shut your mouth.
That's it. There we go.
Sweet delicately.
So
Shut your
fine,
mouth.
there we go. So when you're in the middle of a habit, right, it's very impossible to try and figure out how to shift from who you are, who you've always been. Like, first of all, just having the insight that you can change. Like, hello, like, oh, I can be different than I've always been for 23 years, 32 years, 57 years, whatever it is. I can actually be different. The answer is yes. Mm-hmm. The reason God gave us imagination is so we can imagine ourselves as, the gap between where we are and who we want to be, and growing into that person. So yes, right, you can do it yet, which is you're eligible to. So how do you cement that in your mind? Gorgeous. Using the physical world. So if you always snap at your husband, think of something you're going to do in the physical world that will remind you not to. So like you're about to say, no. And then you cross both fingers and can you do this? I can see. Both. Look, I'm doing 4.
Oh, you do 4.
And these.
Oh, I
See,
can't.
come on.
Can't.
See, you have to be very coordinated.
You're so talented.
See, look at that.
Can't do that. Oh my God, you have to, by the way, you have to see our set right now. It's like 6 of us. Wait, no, but I just want to say, 6 of us except the male in the room who totally is oblivious to all of it. He's like, I'm not doing this something. I'm not even trying. Okay? So he's just going to make fun of me. And we're all trying to cross our fingers and we're not doing it.
But whatever it is, like you know yourself. So find what will work for you. So if it's like, if you think it's a mouth, so grab your chin. Like when you're about to say something, grab your chin. Bite your tongue. Bite it inside so that people don't think you're weird, which maybe they'll think you're weird anyway. Maybe you are weird. Maybe you are weird. But anyway, wait, hold on. I had other, cross your arms. Just cross your arms. Like keep the anger in. Keep it in. I'm going to keep it in. Like cross your arms like that. Biting your tongue. Grab your chin very hard. Yeah. So, hurt yourself. Not really, but you know what I mean? Oi! No, but really, like this, like say, don't go there. Like, it's better I should hurt my chin. Yeah. Is this
think
a chin?
That I'm hurt. Yeah, no, but
like here where nobody can kind of see it. Am I going to hurt him or am I going to hurt myself? And just grab like this, whatever. Try and keep smiling, whatever. But the point is, use a physical reminder break the habit. I know somebody who cracked their knuckles, all the time, whatever. And they themselves, good on them, they wanted to stop doing it because it was annoying to everybody else. And then people say you get arthritis from it. I don't know, whatever. I Googled it.
They can't confirm.
You can't confirm it. So anyways, no. And then there's one guy who cracked one hand his whole life for 50 years and didn't crack the others to see whether he would get
arthritis. And he got arthritis in another one.
No, and he didn't get arthritis in either way, in either case. It's an N of 1, a scientific study with one result.
One of his hands.
Anyway, whatever. But the point is, so this guy it was cracking his knuckles and asked me about it. So what he did is he went, instead of cracking his knuckles, whenever he had the urge to crack his knuckles, he went like this. But if you do this for like a few, it hurts.
To make it like hard,
comfortable. To make it hard and comfortable. And this was like his. What's the opposite of a reward? A punishment. Thank you. Hello. Yes, we do have a braid here. Maybe. Hello. So his punishment for starting to crack his knuckles was doing this, and he said within a week. Over. Like 2 years of cracking his knuckles, Finished. So these physical reminders are very powerful. Okay, let's go on. Number 2. This is, again, we're talking about connecting authentically. Understand yourself. So what are your blocks to connecting authentically? Personally, I mean, they're different for every person. Every person has their own things. What stops you from being motivated for being close? Is it you had bad role models as a child? You have issues. You're so resentful and angry at your husband that you can't get on the other side of it. So you're not even really trying. So you have to understand. Are you bearing grudges? Are you never learned how? Maybe you really want to be close, but you never learned how. Mm-hmm. Marriage Secrets, that's one way. Watching the show is another way. Any book sourced in Torah that talks about marriage and how to live, how to have closeness, you will get something from. Talk to Rebbitzins, talk to clergy people, talk to people, learn how to get close. Because there are definite tools. And it's not, I have this big thing that bothers me, which is like, why do we learn reading, writing, and arithmetic, right? Mm-hmm. That's the main thing in school. Why is there no course on communication? Mm-hmm. Like, it's the single most important thing. Mm-hmm. Seriously, isn't it? Yeah. It's the most important thing for our long-term happiness. It's the most important to be able to be authentic with your communication, to be able to connect deeply with other people, let alone your spouse, which is where all your joy and pleasure can come from. And I said can come from because maybe it isn't at the moment. We'll get there. Don't worry. You're eligible too, right?
Yes.
Yet. But it's all that communication in terms of for everywhere in your life, we need communication, and yet it's not the number one course. Isn't that not being taught? I mean, maybe people get it through inference, but don't we think it's about time? It's worthy. If you are out there and you're listening to this and you're like, oh my goodness, that is so true. I would like to do something about it. Contact me, and we'll figure out something where you can teach communication. I mean, forget about being taught in all the schools and whatever. By the time you get everybody's signature on teaching at the schools, but even some kind of courses. And we do a lot of communication in here, but I would like to see more. Okay. Okay. So this is part of understanding yourself. Are your childhood hopes and dreams that you had, like, oh, my life is going to be like this, and you have this certain fantasy of what your life and certain expectations of what your life could look like, should look like, and now you're living in a, what do you call it, like also ran, huh? You're living in thank you, in a disappointment. Like I thought I was going to live in Disneyland, and now I'm living in a shoe, or like a little old lady in a shoe. This is not what I signed up for. So is your unrealistic, and I use that word with big capital, bright, right, unrealistic, in huge letters, is Hollywood your sign. Hollywood sign unrealistic expectations about what your life should be like, ruining what your life is like? It's pretty sad. We had visions when we were little girls playing with dolls or whatever and thinking about our life in the future, or it's funny. I can see if there is a bunch of women at my table or something, we're talking, whatever, I can pick out to you romance novel, doesn't read romance novel, I can pick out who has read a lot or a little of romance novels and who hasn't. Why? Because they have completely unrealistic expectations of not only what to expect in a husband, what to expect from life. And it ruins them. Isn't it powerful? Many women, single women, when I used to work a lot with them, I don't anymore, but when I used to work a lot with them, I would go through the whole thing with them, they would be talking, and after about 15 minutes, and I clocked it in the first 5. Thank you. Not because I'm so smart, because it's so obvious when you're looking for, okay, where are they coming from? What's their expectations? And when I tried to dismantle it, they're like, if they're 22 or 23 or 24, they're like, they don't hear. It's like they've got corks in their ears, big corks, okay? When they're 29, still looking for a husband, 31, still looking for a husband, and I tell them, listen, you're letting romance novels dictate who you're going to marry. It's not reality, and you don't even want that, because that is the two people walking off on the beach. The next day, he's going to leave his socks on the floor, and you got to deal with that. Let's get real. They can hear it by then, but the 18-year-olds, 23, whatever these ages, they don't even hear it because they're so convinced that their view of what their life is going to be like is the view. some of it's from romance novels, some of it's stuff they make up in their own head. They've been playing house with their siblings for 5 years or 10 years, and all their cousins came together, whatever they have.
Disney.
Expectations. Disney. It's
Disney. Every fairy tale story is that.
Yeah.
Happily ever after.
Right. And so
Until the day after.
did you just make that up?
I just said it, but I think we should have it. We should make that.
Happily ever after until the day after.
Wait.
Ouch. What? We have a call getting married.
She's like, okay, I need to leave right now.
Sorry.
Yeah. But now you're prepared.
You're prepared. Yes, you can.
Working here has prepared me.
Okay, very good.
You
Okay,
see?
she said working here has prepared me. Yeah,
we're not
okay,
scaring anyone else.
That's right. No, it's bad. And people say, "Oh, I'm single. Can I watch your show?" I'm like, "Hello,
Yes.
that's the best. I mean, learn to be a wife before your wife. Like, we're there." So, but the issue is, and you okay? You're no. But anyway, the point is that when people have unrealistic expectations, and you think about you're watching this now. Do you have unrealistic or fantasy land ideas of what your life should be like, what your husband should like, most of all, what your life should look like? You don't have the house that you want, or the car that you want, or the clothes that you want, or all the stuff that we sort of expect our life to look like, and it doesn't look like that. Nobody's life looks like what they can fantasize in their own head. So you got to keep that in check. Very, very crucial. So that was understanding yourself. You need to also look at your dysfunctional patterns. A lot of us, it's funny. I once gave a lecture, and there were many, many hundreds of people there. And I said, okay, everybody, can you please raise your hand if you've come from a dysfunctional family? And no one raised because they're kind of all shy. I said, I'm talking to you. Raise your hand if it's true. And whatever. Every hand went up. Everyone thinks they come from a dysfunctional family. They think everyone else is the perfect, Leave It to Beaver. What's another? The Simpsons. I don't know what's in modern. Maybe not The Simpsons. But anyway, everyone thinks they should have their life. Everyone else's house looks great, and they're the ones from the dysfunction. Everybody thinks they're from dysfunction for the most part. So why am I saying this? Because you need to understand what the dysfunctional patterns you've had. It's normal to have dysfunctional patterns, what they are that are creating that. So when I was talking with Amy and Mark, I said to her, what was your childhood family like? And she said her parents did not work together, but there was a lot of bickering in that marriage. She said, I can remember sitting at the table and, my parents, like whatever it was, they didn't hide their fights in front of us, and they, it was a kind of open family, and they felt like we should share, and a kid should learn how to resolve issues. And by the way, this is a complete side issue, but when kids see their parents, even if the parents don't agree, but they see, this is good for a caller, they see the husband and wife agree, even if the wife totally doesn't agree or the husband does, but they just kind of both nod their head. It gives a feeling of serenity to the parents. And this is not Leah Richeimer's great parenting tip. This is from, you didn't tell me my necklace fell inside.
No, see, it was so funny. No, I saw that before, and I'm like, I just
who
bought her a better hair.
Okay, all right.
Okay, but now you can pull it out.
Okay, now I can pull it out. So what was I even saying? Hello. I get to.
Serenity.
Yeah. The parents getting along, and there's a source that talks about how fighting and bickering in front of children, can just causes them anxiety. There's nothing they learn from that. Mm-hmm. They will learn how to resolve issues and resolve conflicts from the conflicts that they do see, or from how you handle things with other people. But you don't need to let it all hang out so that they can learn those things. They'll learn them. Don't worry. What's most important to them, and what's most important for their long-term feeling of what's the word? Security, is to see that the parents are getting along. So that's a side issue. Okay, but in any case, part of understanding yourself is is understanding what those past dysfunctional patterns are and what your growth curve are on it. If like she said, her parents were always bickering, like now she's just going to always bicker. That's it. Like that's her life. That's what she's now stuck for the rest of her life to be a bickerer. No, you can do something about it. You can say, okay, anytime I feel like arguing, I'm going to cross my arms. I'm going to cross my fingers. I'm going to, whatever it is that you're going to do, hold your hands like this. I'm going to crack my knuckles, whatever it is, you pick something and you're going to freeze and you're going to grow in it, and you will be shocked, doing this for 1 month, you're a new human being by the end of that month. Okay, let's go on to the next one. Carve out time necessary for your relationship to run smoothly. So I know this is like so dumb, and you hear this all the time, and actually your homework, this is going to be part of your homework, okay? Because everyone says, oh, you need to make time and quality time and whatever. There is so much, it was very interesting when I was talking to Amy and I was saying, I asked her the question about the DMC and she says, oh, we just rile each other up and blame each other. So I asked her, how often do you have a DMC? And she said, what do you mean? I said, like, is it once a month, once a year, once a week? And she said, my guess would be, every few months. I was shocked. I didn't know what to say to her. I seriously, I was like.
But because in her mind, she's with her husband all the time. So she assumes in her mind, which is what happened when I was working with my husband, I just thought we were talking and we were having this great, like we knew everything that was going on because we were always together. And then you realize you really know nothing because you're just not really ever talking. You're
doing logistics of running
Correct.
life. You're running life
You're
together.
never having that like connecting, we're focused on each other. You're just distracted the whole time.
Right. So this is a major problem in the planet Earth. We can solve it starting with you.
Yeah. Seriously.
There needs to be, you got to get this down. Like, put this at the top of your priority list. I know you need new shoes, and I know you need to go get a checkup on something that's bothering you about your arm. I know there's a lot of stuff on you. Got to fill out the insurance papers. Don't we all have to at some point?
Yes, exactly.
I get it. I get what your life is like. But I promise you, I promise you and guarantee you this. If you make this a priority in your life, God will take care of the insurance form. He will, get you the shoes on sale at the exact, just you're walking by and you spot them in the window and you walk in and buy them. You don't have to go to 17 stores to get the ones you want. God will take care of you, but you got to take care of your marriage. And this issue of carving out DMC time, it doesn't have to, look, I have some people and they say, oh, we go on a date and, whatever, and then we're not allowed to talk about emotions. We just have to talk about light stuff or whatever. If that works, fine. Everyone's got to find their own medium. But there also has to be a time when you can talk about issues that are bothering you, things, hopes and dreams for the future, what your goals are. These are very, very crucial. You have to figure out, a lot of people feel like they don't have disposable time. Right? It's not disposable. It's like every moment is accounted for. That happens to be the state of the world that we live in. I mean, I remember, my aunt Florence, who, she's 103, and she was like, when you're playing cards with your friends, or when you're, having lunch when you're out to lunch with your girlfriends, I'm like, hello, you try and get these things into your life. We're up to here, all of us, and we're all running circles trying to accomplish stuff. But if you take the time, the way you do it, it has to be carved out. It's not going to happen naturally. It's not. So whether that's, every night before you go to bed, even that you go to bed at different times, you say, okay, I'm in bed, come tuck me in, or come, whatever. And then, the husband comes in and whatever, and he sits on the bed and he sits there and schmoozes for 10 minutes. 10 minutes usually turns to 15 or 20 or whatever. Or you say, okay, in the morning, you're sitting there having your coffee, you're both having your coffee and you're both on your phones checking. No. Instead of checking the phones, we're going to spend 15 minutes just catching up with each other.
Yeah. So, by the way, when we had Debbie Fox on the show as a guest expert, so watch our show with Debbie Fox. She was amazing on spiritually challenged husbands. She had said to learn something with your husband, like to pick a book or something to read. So we started doing that. We found a book that we like, On the Moon on Faith, and going through troubles. And I literally read a page and a half while he's laying on the bed listening, and then it opens up, because we know that we have to
focus,
meet at whatever time, even if I want to go to sleep early or he wants to go sleep early, he's like, okay, let's do the reading. And when we start the reading, it just opens up a conversation.
Make a note to tell Debbie.
But it was really from her thing. We started doing a reading.
That's
fantastic. So it's, very
fantastic.
powerful.
Okay, great. Okay, let's go on to number 4. And I have no idea. This clock is kind of weird.
No, you're good. You're at 40 minutes. So you're
okay. So I just want to go another 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Okay, and I just wanted to point out one thing. You are the boss of you. We think that like we work for the carpool lane and we work for our husband and we're running. You're the boss of you. You can make this happen. If you make it your determination to find that time with your husband, you can make it happen. And he doesn't want it. And he's always busy and he's stressed out and whatever. Fine. You tell him this is the most important thing to you. When he says, "What do you want for your birthday?" Say, "I want 10 minutes a day for you for the year."
And a necklace.
And a necklace that you wear outside of your clothes. Okay, fine. Okay, the next one is number 4 is shift your focus. So this is a hard one, and it's, again, the goal here is to connect authentically. And it's very hard to connect authentically when your whole world is wrapped up with you concerned with yourself. It's kind of like the narcissism of the world, and we're all narcissists. That's how we're born. And we're I wanted my bottle of milk. That's how we started. And then over time, as we mature, if we mature, we gain more self-mastery of ourselves, and we go from the me centered focus to shifting our focus to those around us. We're born completely self-absorbed. And as we grow, we want to grow ourselves to be the kind of person who's more thinking about what are they thinking. And not only is this crucial for our own self-development and our own self-mastery and our own growth, it's also so gorgeous because it gives us a satisfaction that nothing else gives. I have an example of, somebody wants something and they go out and they get it and whatever, and they get a coffee and they're so happy and whatever, and then they see somebody who's thirsty, whatever, and they give the coffee to the other person. There's a sense of, oh, now I don't have a coffee. But there's another sense of, that person could, maybe they're a person who couldn't afford a $7 coffee. What is a coffee now? $7.
Yeah.
No joke.
It's like,
Starbucks, yes.
$250 for a
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, hello, so this person's struggling, their husband just lost a job, or something happened, and you give the coffee to them. Believe me, the taste of the coffee would have lasted about 10 minutes after you finished it. This one, you always feel good about yourself. So there's something to it that gives us a whole sense of spiritual satisfaction that we may not see right away. So the point is, for this, you want to shift your focus from outside, from being me, and my husband isn't making me happy, and he's not, and I resent him, and he's bothering me. So for Amy, he's angry, and he's trying to get this done, and he doesn't do things right, and he's not as efficient as me, and all these things that she's going on about blaming him and pointing to him in relation to herself. Rather than that, she's like, oh, I bet you, it's 1:30 and he hasn't eaten lunch yet. Maybe I should make sure he gets some lunch. It's mind-blowing. I have my teenage kids. What do they do? They go like,
yeah.
Or is it this way? I never know which way to do it.
It's this way. It comes out of the ears.
Out of the ears. Oh, okay. Whatever, okay, fine.
Ears, yeah.
No, this is a brain
Oh,
brain.
I think you're doing like the cartoons where they get angry and
No. This is where they, it's a mind blower. It's a whole shift. It's a whole shift when you go from thinking about only you to shifting about your husband. Okay, let's see if there's anything else on there. When you're wrapped up in your own emotional drama, which I can't relate to at all.
Yeah, exactly.
Hello, wink, right? Yeah. So when you're, it's very hard to sort of think what's in that person's heart, what's going on in that person's heart. If you start thinking and maybe make a little heart for yourself, just go like when you're all stuck in your own self, make a little heart like this, nobody can necessarily see. See that heart? Wait, I'm doing it upside down.
No, you see
but
it.
you can see it. Yeah, see, there's a heart. Make a little heart. Think about what's going on in their heart, and make that your focus, and the whole thing, everything will shift around for the better of them, for the better of you, and for your bonding and closeness. Okay, last one is spend more time listening and less time talking. So we have a lot of shows about listening and how powerful it is. And here, in terms of connecting, it's the world. So if the husband, if Amy's sitting there, she's saying, well, when we have, we need to do this, right? it comes across just like it sounded, like a Muppet going, with that you don't want to listen to. But if she says, "What do you think? What's your opinion? How do you feel about this? What do you think we should do?" If you solicit questions to bring your husband out and to let him share himself, it accomplishes two things. One, you're not babbling and directing and making him defensive. And secondly, it makes him want to listen to you. It really does. When you are thoroughly listened to, you want to know what's going on in the other person's heart as well. So you're doing it because it's the right thing to do and because you want closeness, but you should recognize there's huge bonus in it for you, which is your husband will listen more. Okay, fine. Let's go on to the next thing. So let me give you some action steps. Okay. Authentic communication is making the time and doing the right thing in that time. So that's what we want to do. In regards to the story about Amy and Mark, the three questions that they have, the three things that they have the most of is lack of communication time, no DMCs. Mm-hmm. That was like the number one thing when I was working with Amy. I said, you got to carve this into your life. No matter what you do, carve it in. Not to discuss logistics of the company, not to discuss where the kids are going to camp and what car you're going to buy and, logistics, although those are all important and those are also shuffled. She said those are shuffled in between their life.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
What if the husband doesn't like DMCs? Or if he doesn't like talking about more serious, intense things?
Fantastic point. The chances are very high. The reason he doesn't like DMCs is because the ones for the past 5 years or 10 years or 20 years have not gone well. A DMC starts out with the wife, I just want to mention a few things, and they end with, you didn't do this, and last year, and 2 years ago, and my mother-in-law said this, and blah, 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 blah. Done right. By the way, I have an empty bottle of whatever. So give me 1 second. Hold on a second. Oh, sorry. Lose. They heard the bang. Okay, fine. Anyway, so it's usually when a husband doesn't like now, it could be that, let's say 10% doesn't, I'll deal with the 10% who don't like DMCs at all. But 90% of husbands who don't like DMCs, it's because the wife hasn't made it comfortable for him, hasn't made it easy for him, given him a lot of praise, sandwiched if she has something a little harsh or hard to say to him, you say the good thing, compliment, then you say the tough thing, then you throw in another compliment. So she hasn't really thought through, how am I going to say this in a way my husband can hear it and I can actually produce results? I think, don't we have a show called Communication for Producing Results? It's one of the chapters of Marriage Secrets. So you can
think we have a show by that title, but we have a lot of shows.
Maybe we should note that down. Okay, right. Yeah. So the issue is that in terms of if a person thinks clearly before they shoot from the hip and start thinking about what they're going to say, but they actually think about how am I going to accomplish this, having a DMC. I want to talk to my husband about this, this, and this. How do I say it in a way he can hear it? How do I say it in a way he won't make him defensive? You know what? If I say all three of those things, he's going to feel, like I'm, what's that called when you hoodwink somebody, when you, everything jumping on you at once. Overwhelmed. I'm overwhelming him with too many things. Let me cover this and half of this, and next time I'll cover another thing. If you think it through thoroughly, it's remarkable how good things can go. So, to answer your question, for the 90%, it's the woman can create an actual desire in her husband for DMCs and for that closeness. For the 10% who really don't like DMCs, then you have to figure out you have to find a different key into that door, into that room. It's putting it on an email, putting it on a text, putting it on a little note with hearts on it, and spritz it with some perfume. You have to figure out how can you get your thoughts and minds and feelings into him without hurting him and without, especially if he doesn't like DMCs. That answer your question? Mm-hmm. Fantastic. Yeah, good. Okay, fine. Okay, the second thing for Amy and Mark, lack of listening to each other's side of the story. That was for sure true. So she totally got that and said, yeah. She said, I'm more at fault because he'll listen to me a lot longer than I'll listen to him. The minute he starts talking to me, and I just feel bad, and I get defensive and fight him, and I need to listen more. So I'm going to work on that. And then the other thing is failure to put energy to feel close. That she saw that very, very clearly, that, all of her anger and resentment that she's carrying and all of the bad logistics. She didn't even realize that like you need to have boundaries when you work together under one roof. And so we talked a bit about the different boundaries that she could set up for herself in terms of, listen, we're not going to talk about the kids and how to manage the kids until after 5 o'clock or whatever it is. You need to have boundaries. So, and she wasn't putting any thought into it or any energy. So now she had a good plan. Okay. A couple of more points to consider. Cutting down tension is forgiving for past things. These are a little bit of extra things that I wanted to just include. Forgiveness for past things, that can also go a long way to connect authentically. We're also all in the midst of frenzy. So to not let your frenzied life rob you of your husband. You hear that? Yeah, sad. Okay. And then the last one with that is carving out time to talk. And that's going to be our homework. But let me give you the Leah's secret of the day. The secret to connecting authentically is 1, slow things down. 2, understand yourself. 3, carve out time necessary for your relationship to run smoothly. 4, shift your focus from internal to finding out what's in your husband's heart, his heart. And 5, spend more time and spend more time listening and less time talking. So the homework for the week, schedule one time this week when you are going to connect with your husband. Both of you put it in your phones, and when that time comes, turn off your phones.
Do that
no
again.
Distractions.
The homework for the week. Do it one more time.
Okay. The homework for the week is to schedule one time this week when you are going to connect deeply with your husband, a DMC, some kind of conversation. Maybe you should do it every day, but let's start with once this week. You are scheduling a time with your husband. You're both putting it in your phones on your timer, so your phones are going to go ding, ding, ding at the same time, and then you're going to meet where, in the living room or outside, or you're going to take a walk, or if it's midnight, whatever it is, you're going to have this time to just for the two of you schedule it for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, a half an hour, whatever might work, whatever might be easiest for your husband here. If he's used to not having DMCs, maybe 10 minutes would be a good enough start, and finish at 10 minutes. No distractions during that time. That's the homework. Thank you so much for joining us. This is Leah Richeimer, your host of the Ladies Talk Show.